Hey guys, what's going on? Inception here and welcome to another video. Today we ended up getting a 191 foot draft team. So as you guys are going to see this team getting built, I didn't go for the 191. It just happens randomly. I've never gone for a high rating in draft. I don't know what the highest rating was in draft, like what it is nowadays in FIFA 18. I'm pretty sure it's actually 192. I'm not sure if I've ever seen a 193 yet, but I didn't go for the 191, so when I don't select certain players for higher ratings, it's because I'm trying to get the best possible meta for the draft because I just want to use players that I like in each position, not thinking about the ratings of the cards, right? So you won't see me getting the 191 when I first build the squad, but at some point in the video, after like the second or third game, someone in my chat recommended, hey, you should try seeing if you can get a 191 draft, because it was 190 without me even thinking about it, because again, I never try to build the teams in a 191 or a 192. Like, I think it was like a year or two ago, it used to be like a big trend, right, where you had to get a 191 draft, but nowadays not so much as a trend. But I just thought it was really cool to add into a video because it was really interesting the types of players that I was actually getting for my squad. And again, don't be too disappointed with the selections. I wasn't going for the 191. It just kind of happens. So you guys, again, if you want to see the actual 192, it's after like the second or third game. That's, again, someone suggested to me. So we're going to go ahead and answer some questions from the YouTube comments as you guys normally do. And that's what I normally do during my videos. If you guys are interested in asking any questions in general, try not to ask the very generic questions that people usually ask all the time. Try to switch it up a bit so that people can hear different questions and different answers. So we're going to get started with the first question here, which is, do you believe in chem styles? I personally do, as why would Martial be OP? Martial isn't OP. He's just a card that makes a lot of sense. He has all the right stats to be an actual good card. He's not necessarily overpowered, but I do think chemistry styles actually do something to the cards. Now, whether or not they do it by 10 or 15, like these websites, it's not whether these websites claim that they do, because EA representatives say that that, like, there were some EA reps that say that yes, it's that those are the increases, but I genuinely don't think that that's how the increases actually works on the cards, because if a card is improved by 10 or 15, there would be no purpose to actually getting a Team of the Year version or a Team of the Season version of the cards for you to have a better version of that card. Like, for instance, last year was like the Keita Balde's, like just any version of Team of the Season. Keita Balde is the one that comes to mind right away because he had significant stat increases in very specific stats that actually made him significantly better. But if I used his regular rare gold card and I put a chemistry style to improve his dribbling and stuff, he still felt very similar to what his dribbling suggested, right? So basically what I'm trying to say is, even if you put like an engine on Harry Kane will still have that somewhat sluggish feel on the ball, because at the end of the day, I think it's his balance or his agility that's still low. I'm going to search it up right now for the Team of the Year version of Kane. I just searched up Conte. At the end of the day, he still has 74 balance, and if you give him, I think the card that people told me to put on him to improve the dribbling would be the balance boost. So that's like the engine card, I believe. I think engine's the one that increases the dribbling as well. So I'm just going to look for that right now. Engine right here. So yes, engine is supposed to increase his balance by plus 10. So instead of having 74 balance, he has 84 balance. You will still notice that he's a player that'll be off balance, because a Martial will still move somewhat better on the ball than a Harry Kane, because Harry Kane or Martial, his default stats without any chemistry style boost is 86 agility and 82 balance, and that's more noticeable, right? Because I don't touch Martial's dribbling. I don't give him like a sniper card to improve his shooting and his dribbling. I only give him a hunter card at all times. So his dribbling isn't improved, but if I don't give a chemistry style to Martial, but I do give one to Harry Kane, Martial will still move better on the ball than someone like Harry Kane will. Just in game, it's just a general feel. I got Prime Gullit, but if I had known then what I know now, I would have sold my investments and bought 90 Gullit. The Prime Icon SBCs do not have the special traits they're supposed to have. Yet another reason I will not be buying FIFA 19. Dude, it's just a way of thinking that I have. The 90 rated Gullit card is awesome. You don't have to spend another 5, because people say, like, this is what people were telling me, right? When they were saying how, like, you get value back in the pack, so the cards aren't as expensive as you say. I'm very well aware of that, but it's still not worth getting that extra upgrade for basically an informed version of the card for most of those guys. But in the other hand, they do play amazingly well, and if you want to go for full meta, each one of those cards can be put into any pro player's team and do work for them. So it just really depends on how you see it. Who should I get as a center back to play with Bai and left back for an EPL team? I've been using Rudiger and Alonso, also playing for fun, not foot champs, but I would still like to upgrade those two. Okay, so you're playing for fun. Center back wise, it's tough to say with center back next to Eric Bai. I mean, if you don't want inform versions, because Ake's card is a lot of fun to use, Azpilicueta's inform versions are fun to use. I would say if you're going to get a regular version of cards, maybe Koscielny, but then you would be lacking in the physical a little bit. So I would still probably choose Koscielny. I actually used Koscielny in the beginning of the year because I think Koscielny also has medium-high work rates. So because he has medium-high work rates, you can slide him into a team easily as well, in my opinion. So with the left back, I would actually use Van Aanholt. I liked Van Aanholt when I was using him in the beginnings, and they're not expensive upgrades to put in your squad. So I would try using Van Aanholt. He's pretty decent. I enjoyed using him. I have so much comments that if I miss your comments, guys, I'm sorry. I think I have like a comments bot. It's like it seems as though like they're trying to win like giveaways or something. I don't know, because they're posting like really random comments, and if you guys see them, I do apologize, but there's literally nothing I can do about them because there's literally so many of them. If I ban one person, it's not like linked to an IP. It's all like different, right? So it's very weird, but I'll try to answer the questions as much as I can. I've actually started to answer or talk about certain discussions that people have on FIFA Reddit or FIFA forums. So if the comment section stays like this, it'll be best for me to go on the forums and Reddit, because people do talk about a lot of different things on those websites. So definitely going to look into that as well. Hey, Inception, I have another question. Since I recently quit trying to be overly competitive and rather have fun playing FIFA, good for you, man. I made some radical changes to my team. I hear you always put a lot of emphasis on agility and balance. Yes, sir, I do, but also the physical. So as it stands, I no longer care for the weekend league, but I just want to know if it is possible to be a Division 1-2 player with a team consisting of weak yet very agile and dribbling friendly attackers. Absolutely. If my attackers... so I just gotta extend this. If my attackers are Inform Jesus, 91 Salah, 87 Mane, and Foot Birthday Mahrez, Mane sucks, but the other three cards, they're really good. Like, Jesus is fantastic. Like, here's the thing. The physical... Here's the thing that people really need to understand. The physical only matters if you want to be 100% specific with your team, okay? Because every single aspect of a player is important for every single moment, okay? If I have a Gabriel Jesus, right, and I need that physical presence, or I need to cross a ball, or I need to do this or that, I need to be able to do everything with that one card in each position. If I have a center mid that can't shoot, and I'm in the box, and I could have a center mid that could shoot, I would prefer to have the center mid that could shoot. But Inform Jesus, great card to use. He's so much fun to use. 91 Salah is absolutely disgusting, by the way. The 2-star weak foot is a downfall, but I think he honestly makes up for it with the other stats. He's a fantastic card. For me, Mane is garbage. He's kind of like Alexis Sanchez in the game. Like, he has the pace, which helps a little bit, but he still doesn't play that well. Even shooting-wise, he's not consistent. The reason why his shooting isn't consistent is because EA are very anal about his composure on the card, right? So if I actually go check out even his left-wing version of his card, he has, I don't even think Foothead is right, so I'm going to go check Footbin just to make 100% sure. Not Martial, Mane's card. I want to see what his... This is the award winner one. I believe this is the Player of the Month version. He has 81... Well, this one has 81 composure, so this one is significantly better. But I think the Mane card that's a center forward is a Foot Birthday one. So that's man of the match, Foot Birthday. Foot Birthday is the 86 version of the card. 79 composure. That by itself, for spending 165k on is just not worth it, right? In my opinion, especially since he has a 3-star weak foot, doesn't have any long shots, so he's very specific to making sure he's in the box and doing a driven shot. Don't get me wrong, guys. I love Mane in real life. Mane is one of my favorite players in real life because I'm a Liverpool guy too, right? But in the game, I just despise of him. I don't know what it is. Like I don't despise of him. I think he's usable. I think he's a clean card to use. I don't think he's ideal. Like if I come up against someone that knows what they're doing, because it's like for me, I have an annoyance when someone beats me literally because I'm not specific with my squad, right? Because squads are so important. Like if you're a decent player, a squad is so important if you're facing someone else who also has a good team. Hence why I don't play Division 1 anymore, because I used to love using different types of squads, but when I play it with a different type of squads and I don't have the full meta and then someone else is rocking the full meta, it's not fun for me to play. So that's why I love playing drafts, because it's always different. Everyone is forced to use different teams and it's just fun that way for me. So, but yeah, 91 Salah. Fantastic card to use. His agility on the ball is fantastic. Inform Jesus is great as well. I had him on the Xbox account and I did use him in my squads for quite a bit. The FUT Birthday Mahrez card I haven't tried out yet, but I can pretty much guarantee you that he would be God tier. Reason being is because if you actually check out his card, the center forward version of the card has 97 agility with 89 balance while being 5'10", which is a great height. He's left-footed, and I don't know what it is in FIFA, and I don't know if you guys agree with this, but left-footed players are so much fun to use in FIFA. I don't know why, okay? The thing that you'll be noticing with the Mahrez card is that ideally he wouldn't really be an ideal striker, but as a cam, he would be beautiful. 87 short passing with 82 long passing, as well as 91 acceleration with 85 sprint speed. It's just a glorious card. He has 5-star skill moves too with medium work rate, so that's a lot of fun to use right there, man. Definitely recommend trying him out if you just want to have fun with those cards. Got to scroll down a lot here because we got all these bot comments here, and there's just way too many. I don't. Oof. Yeah, I think I'm just going on the FIFA forums now. It's so many of them. Like some of you guys write one-line comments, but I literally cannot see it. I wish I can show. If you guys are looking at the YouTube channel right now, like honestly, just check out the videos. There's so many. There's even the free coins one. Oh my goodness. All right, we're just gonna go to the forums and check out some discussions over there. What SBC do you regret doing the most? Oh, that's a funny one. I think anybody would regret doing the ones that are like super expensive, but the cards aren't very meta-wise, aren't good meta-wise, or even worth getting at all. So, yeah. Bale 91 or Aguero 93, buy now or wait. So buy now or wait, I can't give any opinion on because I'm very bad with the market. But it's weird when people ask a question like Bale or Aguero. They're so different for players, you know what I mean? Like a 91 Bale, let's go check out the Bale card, right? So a 91 Bale is a center forward version of the card, so you can get full chemistry stats on him if you put Ronaldo as a left wing and then you're using like a 4-3-2-1 and then you put Bale as your striker. So you can get him on full chemistry. You have very high finishing in 91, finishing in 95 shot power, blah, 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 blah. Thing about Bale is it all depends on you, man. It depends on your play style, right? I love using Bale, but I hate using Bale at the same time because his agility is 79 and his balance is 67. And for me, that's just not ideal to have in a team. Like I don't know what it is. Like I just don't like that he has those things, but he's still fun to use, right? Because he already has 96 pace with 94 acceleration and 97 sprint speed, which is amazing. Do your best to upgrade his shooting and his dribbling. Because if you can upgrade his dribbling, I actually feel that the card would be significantly better. If you can increase his balance by like at least like a 72, because I do think it'll increase at least to a 71, 72, and then you increase the agility by like 3 or 4, I feel like the card would be amazing to use. But you really, I wouldn't even bother putting Hunter on the card. Sniper 100%, bro, because his dribbling definitely needs to be improved 100%. In terms of Aguero, you're asking about the 93 version of Aguero's card? 93. It's funny, I'm saying you, but it's the guys from the forums. 93 version of Aguero is... Can't even search him up. Foothead. Let's go a footbin here. So we're going to search up Aguero's card here. So Aguero 93 is a striker card who has good finishing, good composure. Okay, so he's basically good at everything. And his short passing is 88 with 70 long passing. So my big problem with Aguero on a personal level, and some people play differently, everyone has their own thing. Like Fuji likes using one of the Mertens inform cards, and I hate it because he's so small, right? It's the same thing with Aguero for me, man. I don't like his height, although I don't remember if I've ever tried the 93 version of the card, because the 93 could be significantly better, because those little small stat increases that they give could make the player significantly better. The only small players that I've realized that I actually like using a lot, there's some players that are like okay, like Sterling and stuff, but there's some players that I like using a lot. It's only Maradona and Messi, because they're actual gods in the game. Like Maradona is rapid on the ball, so is Messi. Like they're the only cards that I like using that are actually short. But in regards to Aguero's card, everything looks right about the card, man. He's got the finishing, his acceleration is great, his everything is good, man. If you give him a Hunter card, he'll be pretty much perfect in shooting, as much as a game can be, and the pace would be almost perfect too. He has 83 strength, which isn't bad at all to have. He has 90 jumping, which is okay to have considering he's 5'8". But it's my play style of laying it off the way that I want to lay it off to the striker, then lay it off to the sides. It just doesn't work for me with Aguero's card. But I haven't tried out the 93 or the 94 version of his card, so I have no idea what those play like. But he could be really good, in all fairness. What else do we have here? Don't EA celebrate Easter anymore? That's actually a really interesting discussion, because EA didn't do anything for Easter, but they definitely could have done something for Easter, which is very interesting to me, because their content could be like a never-ending thing. Like every week, you can create content for this game, because it's FIFA, man. FIFA, you have so much endless possibilities of the type of things that you can do. I just wish in the future they were to add like a FIFA Street type mode. I think a FIFA Street type mode would be really, really nice to have in this game, especially if you don't want to play like the 11v11. Like even if they create a FIFA Street game mode on the side, it would be great, because it's a nice balance, right? Because like 2K has their 2K Street, well, not 2K Street, but they can play on like on the street against with other people. It would be really cool if EA had something similar to that, like a system similar, but I don't think they would, because it would kind of take away the revenue from Ultimate Team. But if you introduced a revenue concept in your other game modes, then, because I know that they're a business, they're gonna try to make their money as much as they want, but it would just be really cool gameplay wise, right? Because it gets a little bit linear. You would like to have different things all the time, and I would just love it. Like I looked at some of the different atmospheres for the last FIFA Street game. It wasn't that great, but it was still a FIFA Street game, so it was still fun to play. Like I did get it with my friends, and for the most part, we weren't like the hardcore like FIFA Street enthusiasts. We were just like really like hardcore football fans. So we're just like, hey, we're just gonna get this FIFA Street game and we're gonna have fun with it, because you can place like each person as their own guy and just play with them, and it was a lot of fun, because you just share a lot of good moments in FIFA Street, and it would be really cool to have something like that in the community. But in regards to Easter, I'm not surprised that EA didn't add anything to the game, because it's EA. They're a very weird company. Like sometimes they'll add things, sometimes they won't. But in regards to should they have added something, they definitely should have, man. Like Fortnite is on top of everything in their game. I'm pretty sure every week or 2 weeks they always add new stuff to their game. And I get it, because EA are working on FIFA 19, blah, blah, blah. But I honestly find that to be an excuse, because The Division from Ubisoft is still given content consistently, still given updates consistently on the game, and they're working on The Division too. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like it's a little bit unfair to say, hey, like you guys, I know that you guys work on the next. Like I don't think that matters, because we're still playing that one game. Like you're preparing for the next one, but we're still playing this one. So it's just the way that I see it, in my opinion. Let's see what else we got going on here. When and when not to sprint. This is an interesting one, because this is something that I get in the comment sections quite a lot. Is whether or not you should sprint in certain situations or you shouldn't sprint in certain situations. Sprinting isn't really worth doing in this game unless you're like, most times it's when your striker is through on goal, or your left wings and right wings can make those runs, right? Like on the sides, or your left cam or right cam, or your center mids, or your strikers push out wide and then do that run in behind. Other than that, dude, like you don't really sprint that much. When you're building up the play, very rarely do you actually sprint that much. You sprint to get into a position to pull someone away from someone else to come to you, so you can open up the space. But other than that, man, you don't do that much sprinting. I always tell people that acceleration is more important than sprint speed, but you need both at all times, right? But when people ask me which one is more important, I always say acceleration, because acceleration, right, is what makes you dribble quicker, right? Or accelerate quickly to get the ball. If you have good sprint speed, but your acceleration is trash, that is the most irrelevant type of card to have, because when you make that pass, your player needs to accelerate from the position that he's in and then reach the sprint speed, right? If you guys ever noticed, right, if you're dribbling with a player, you guys know the heel-to-heel flick, right? It's the when you use the right stick forward back. Heel-to-heel flick is a great skill move because it puts your player at a I would say it's at like a 60-70% on his way through to sprint speed. You know what I'm saying? Like, his acceleration is being done during the skill move, and then he kind of reaches that sprint speed really quickly. If you guys notice, it's always nice to do a heel-to-heel and then driven shot because the ball has momentum on it, right? When the ball has momentum on it, that relates to a better driven shot finish in general, right? So just be careful when you sprint speed. It's not always ideal to do it all the time. Some people really force the sprint speed aspect. Like, just take your time, man. Most of the times, the acceleration and the good dribbling is what opens up the space for you. Messi, I don't know if Messi actually has, I'm pretty sure Messi has high sprint speed, but I'm saying I don't think it's like 90s and 90s, right? So if I go search up his striker card, so his striker card that's a 96 has 90 sprint speed and 96 acceleration. But if I search up his 93 version of his card, he has 87 sprint speed. So his acceleration is 92, but you do always notice that he doesn't have higher than 90 sprint speed. You will always notice it, even if you give him a 100 card, he will still run slower than people like honestly, like Gareth Bale. Gareth Bale is fast in this game because of the physical presence, just the aggressiveness to push forward. I don't know if his aggression stat is that great. I would say that his aggression stat would probably be around like the low 70s area. Maybe I'd push it to like a 70 aggression, because he does somewhat aggressively get the ball back, but I think it's more down to his physical presence and his pace together, right? If he has at least like 70 aggression, that's what makes his card so good to have in the midfield, and even as a striker or a cam, you know, attacking, coming back, and all that stuff. So yeah, I'll just get some water, dudes. Sorry about that. Prime Rijkaard SBC or other option. Ooh, that's an interesting one. Rijkaard, every time I talk about Rijkaard's card, he's such a hit or miss card with people, right? My problem with him is the 54 balance with 6'2", right? That's my only problem, because 75 acceleration with 78 sprint speed, 72 agility isn't bad. It's the balance for a CDM that annoys me, right? Would he be a good card to use in the game? I mean, his composure is really good, so defensively, if he were to like actually body to body against someone, he would be really, really good at doing it. The definition of Rijkaard is he is a trying out type of card. He is not a guarantee of a card that's going to be good. For me personally, I tried to use him like 2 games, and I didn't think he was terrible. I thought he was okay. It's just that I was always comparing him to Laurent Blanc's cam card that I put as a CDM. And defensively, you notice that Rijkaard is better because he actually has defensive stats. But in general, I don't know, man. I just like Laurent Blanc because he can actually attack. You know, like a CDM that actually can do long shots is something that I do like to have on my players. So when you don't have the long shot capabilities or the shooting capabilities at all, because he has 69 finishing, it annoys me a little bit, right? That's why the Team of the Year Conte is great, because he's so good at everything except for the height part. The height part's very noticeable, but because he moves so smoothly left and right and he gets back into position so quickly, I just love him. Like I would tell you, like, if you can put a Team of the Year Conte in your team rather than a Rijkaard, I would honestly tell you to do that, especially since he's medium high work rates. He's a beautiful card. Like a Team of the Year Conte is a lovely card to have in a team. It's just the height. The height is just kills you every single time, man. Any ideas on why I keep getting disconnected from the EA servers? That's like completely random. I don't think there's like a specific reason, unless your NAT type isn't on open. If your NAT type isn't open, that could be a reason. I don't know if you have, I don't know if there's like EA settings where if you're from like a certain area or a certain place, it kind of matches you up in a certain way. I'm not sure if it actually works that way or not, in terms of connection. But I mean, if you are getting disconnected all the time, I would say it's definitely on your end, because I haven't been disconnected from the EA servers in God knows how long. The last time I got disconnected from the game, I wasn't even disconnected from the servers. I was just, the game itself crashed, and then I just restarted. But thank goodness I wasn't in the game, right? So, yeah. Anyone else actually do the Prime Crespo SBC? Is he any good? The Prime Crespo SBC is the pure definition of a trying out type of card, because his card actually looks fantastic, except the long passing, depending on what formation you're using, might annoy you. His passing being very low is really annoying, but dude, he has 89 acceleration with 89 sprint speed. If you give him a 100 card, even if it's improved by like 3 or 4, it's still a huge improvement. You improve his finishing to be god tier, because it's 94 finishing with a 4-star weak foot, which is surprising because I thought he had a 5-star weak foot. With 92 composure is fantastic to have on the card. So he is the pure definition of a card that is worth trying out, but not really a guarantee if you're gonna like him or not. You know, guarantees are like Prime Ronaldinho's. Even Ronaldo's not a guarantee because his balance is low. So Ronaldo's just a god, because I guess he just makes up for it in all his other stats, right? So yeah, like it's funny how that works, that even Ronaldo is not a guaranteed good card. He's, well, I mean, he is, even though his balance is low. If you don't like Ronaldo, there's something wrong with you. Let's be real, because he changes everybody's team. But I mean, everyone's different, right? Like if his balance is low and people notice it and they don't like it, then it makes a lot of sense, in all fairness. I honestly don't like foot champs. It's way too many games, and I don't really care about the rewards you get. Some rewards aren't really worth it unless you are a top tier FIFA player who literally gets 40-0 every week. I just play divisions for fun and just like to try out new players. Dude, that is a great way of looking at it, man. If you want to have fun with FIFA, I would highly recommend not even touching foot champs. On the weekends, so I stream, right? Streaming FIFA right now is a little bit deadish, right? Like when I say a little bit, I mean a lot. Like, because of Fortnite being a thing. Content on YouTube is, for me, it's still great, and I appreciate all of you who watch the videos. But content for Twitch, it's so bad right now. Like, the only time that it's ever gonna pick up the pace right now is if the World Cup mode comes out. Because I'll tell you guys a prime example, right? When the FOP birthday promo came out, we were averaging like 800 viewers, because it was like, yes, we have something new, it's awesome, right? And then back to normal, 200 viewers, 300 viewers, if I could. So it's because EA needs to create a game that's fun to play at all times. If they have a World Cup game mode in this game, it'll be so much fun to play consistently all the time. And especially for content on YouTube, man, it'll be awesome. Like if they do it the same way as it was done in FIFA 14, which was a great concept. I'll tell you guys why the concept in FIFA 14 was amazing, okay? So the concept in that game was great for the World Cup, because every game you played, you were awarded a player. Even if it was a country that you weren't necessarily a fan of, or it was a player you didn't want it, there was still this thing where you were collecting a player or you were collecting a team. So you could actually make squad builders of all the nationalities and just try to collect all the nationalities just by playing the game. You could do the easy way, which you're still spending money on anyways, but you could do the way where you're spending a shit ton of money on the game and you're trying to get all the players that way, which some people did. But it was just really cool to not have a transfer market, right? Which obviously it would still be kind of pay to win, but a World Cup mode being pay to win isn't an issue. A World Cup, a pay to win issue in foot champs is a big issue, right? But in World Cup it wouldn't be, because it's just like, if you're good enough, right? Let's just think about the best team that someone can have, right? If they have like Ronaldos and all those stuff, cool. But if you don't have icons in your game, in your game mode, and I have to only deal with like Ronaldo and some of the nuisance players that he's gonna have in specific areas, it's not a big deal. You can actually beat people like that because it's not icon and blue every single position. You know what I mean? So the World Cup mode is perfect. Collected a player every single time you played, whether you win or lose, didn't matter. When you won the World Cup, they gave you 30K and 2 World Cup packs. With that 30K that you earned from the World Cup pack, you can open 7.5K World Cup packs, which was your way of collecting cards and getting cards, right? So if you had like 7,500 coins from your regular Ultimate Team and you want to use it on the World Cup mode, you could do that. It was a ton of fun to do. I absolutely loved that it was a thing, right? So it was a good balance between both game modes. Again, this is the prime definition of what I'm talking to you guys about, like how EA can do so much with this game, but it really comes down to them whether or not they do it, right? So, like I said with the World Cup game mode, it was brilliant, man. So much to do because every game you played, you were playing for a reason, whether it was collecting, whether it was trying to make a better squad from the continent, because it was based off, chemistry was based off of continents like Europe, South America, North America, all that stuff, right? It was great, man. It was such a fun concept. If you opened those World Cup packs and you got someone like Davinson Sanchez or Chris Smalling, you would be so happy because it's like, wow, I just got a really good center back. Because of the way that game mode works, Chris Smalling and Davinson Sanchez would actually be really good pulls because in the World Cup mode, they would be solid center backs to have in your team. Obviously, if you try to get like Eric Bailly in your team, right, would be god tier. But if you're using like a European team and you were to get like Chris Smalling and TT as your center backs, you would actually be happy about those. Like, yes, I could put like a French link in my team with an English link and then blah, 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 and like maybe mix it up. It was, excuse me, it was just a lot of fun in my opinion. Is Blanc Prime good? Thinking of doing his SBCs. Blanc's card, we mentioned his card, his Prime version of his card before. Always look for this with your center backs if you want to know if a prime version of a center back is worth getting or not, okay? He has 77 acceleration, 80 sprint speed. Fantastic start so far, right? Now it's just the agility and balance that needs to be there. 70 agility, 70 balance. Perfect. He has good defensive stats because you already know he does. 92 defense, you already know he has good interception, sliding tackles, sliding tackles. Good. Let's go check out his physical. Physical, great strength, great aggression, right? He's 6'3" with 77 jumping. So if you give this card an anchor and improve the jumping a little bit while having 6'3" height and being a really good physical player, he'll be fantastic to have in a team. Definitely worth picking up if you want to get his center back version of his card. Is it true that the Prime Icon SBCs are missing traits that the tradable versions have? That's actually a really interesting conversation because I actually but I was looking at on Twitter, and there was a lot of content creators that were showing that some of the traits or even the skill moves or the weak foot doesn't always work in Ultimate Team, right? And I think this has to do something with the, if you guys don't know, well, you should know because it happens every time you start up Ultimate Team. There's this thing in Ultimate Team where you always have to refresh that squad thing. Like, you know, it always says like, oh, there's like this squad update that needs to be done. But I think that glitch with the squad updates actually makes it inconsistent for your players to always have those stats. Because I noticed that from some people's tweets who are content creators, they showed that Ronaldo was missing traits that his Prime was supposed to have. And it also showed how he had 4-star, 4-star, because before the game even was released, you were like, oh my god, why is he 4-star, 4-star, right? But that was the reason why. Well, that was the reason why, but people obviously complained about it and they're like, yo, this guy should be 5-star, 5-star, and then they made him 5-star, 5-star. But because there's that glitch where every time you start up Ultimate Team, you always got to do this squad update thing, there's a chance that it might not be updating consistently. All right, what else we got here? Hi, please help. Need your input on Desailly 88 as a center back and Rijkaard 88 as a CDM, switching in game. Please do reply. Once again, much appreciate your series. It's different and informative. Desailly's 88 card. So Desailly's 88 card. CDM, so you would put him as a center back. Okay, so the agility and balance, you're going to notice a little bit because it's 59 and 56. But you have to try that on your team and see if it works out because sometimes these balance out with each other, okay? But it's better to have both. It's always better to have both. Always remember that. It's better to have both, okay? 88 CDM Desailly has 82 acceleration and 83 sprint speed, but he has 59 agility and 56 balance. That doesn't bode well with each other in order for you to move left and right very smoothly. He is a trying out type of card. If you're going to use Rijkaard's 88th version of his card, which is this, or the I'm assuming the 86? Was it the 86? You said 88, but I think you meant the CDM. Oh, no. You definitely meant it. You want to put Rijkaard as your CDM. Rijkaard as a CDM would be okay. He has a 4-star weak foot. His passing stats are actually quite nice. It's 79, but he actually has good passing stats. It's 87 and 84. His acceleration and sprint speed isn't bad, but then again, that 58 balance could be a problem for you, man. So those are the types of things that you would have to try out in your team to see if you would like it or not. To see if you would like it or not in your squads. How do I improve my gameplay? That's a very generic question to ask, but the best way to improve your gameplay is to just play consistently and understand what your opponents do to beat you, right? Like, what players could you have controlled? What players could you have attacked with? Or what types of passes could you have made, right? Reviewing your gameplay will always help you try to get better at this game, because at the end of the day, this game is very inconsistent, and do I think it's completely skill-based? No, I thoroughly don't think it is. But a good player will still win the majority of their games, even if they're playing in very terrible gameplay. Most of the times, they might actually lose strictly because of the gameplay affecting their reaction time, speed, the quickness that they want to move with their players, the passes that they see but they can't do it because they can't control their players properly, delay. That stuff all happens, but you can still find a way to win in the gameplay 100%. Still waiting to pack an icon. Dude, it's weird how it actually works for me. So the SBC icons, I don't count those because that's me trading towards icon SBCs, like the baby icon SBCs. But I actually got 3 icons so far from Futdraft. I've gotten Sheringham like a year or two. I think it was 2 years ago. I got Sheringham. I got Larsson 2 years ago. And then I got Larsson this year. So I'm just really lucky with the icons. But I don't even consider it to be luck, because if you guys actually see the record that I have on Futdraft, because you guys get to see it when I'm going back into the game mode and whatnot, it's actually ridiculous how much times you have to play and win just to pack one icon. And sometimes you can play that many times and not even pack a single one. So in all fairness, the amount of times that I play the draft, I expect at least one after winning over 550 times and only losing like 20-something times or 30-something times. So at that point, you kind of expect it. And it's not even, it wouldn't even be this thing where it's kind of like being greedy. It's true. You do expect at least like one player, that, because there was a baby icon, right? You expect one player for it to cost like 300k, because it's fun to pack an icon, right? Some of the informs cost like 500, 600k, and their rarity in packs is actually like, it seems like it's less than icons are in general. It's like they don't touch the pack weight of the icons in general. So that's very interesting, because it's really funny if you actually watch which types of packs I packed these icons and these legends in. I packed them in very, very mediocre packs. Like the one that I got recently, I got him in like a rare gold pack, I think. I think it was a rare gold pack or just a gold pack. I think it was a rare gold pack, which was just, it was just disgusting, man. Do I think that a second informed Dele Alli is coming? Yeah, after the game today, there's definitely a possibility of Dele Alli getting a card. If Dele Alli gets a card, his card might be okay to look into getting if they improve his defending by a lot, right? Because his defending right now is very mediocre, I would say. But if they improve his defending by quite a bit, he'll definitely be a really fun card to use 100%. But at the same time, he does lack in the agility and balance. So for me personally, I wouldn't want to use Dele Alli on my team. But I will say one thing, guys. I did use Dele Alli back in the day for FIFA 17, and I really enjoyed his card during those times. So, although I hated that game too, but I did enjoy Dele Alli's card. Why does the 94 R9 have 89 strength and the Prime has 85 strength? Because R9 Primes is from the Barca and mainly Inter days where he was younger and the best 9 in the world has ever seen before his injuries. His 94 is his fatty Real Madrid card. Yeah, it's just from different eras, man. It's just EA's way of, I guess it's just them trying to analyze what they think is best for the card during that era. I don't think people should really take much offense to it. Thanks for the Jordi Alba question. I'll test those in Nitty this week. I packed him on the basic icon SBC, and I've heard Inform Alba, and I've heard Inform Alba for my monthly award. Or I guess you meant to say that you got Inform Alba for your monthly awards. That's great, man. That's awesome that that you got him from your Inform monthlies, because he's a really good card to get in monthlies. Like if you were to get him, he's sick, man. You could put him in so many different squads because Jordi Alba links really nicely with a lot of players in the game, right? Like if you Jordi Alba is Spanish, so you can link him up with Sergio Ramos. You already have like a green link there. Not a full green link because he's not from Real Madrid, but still decent enough links to have fun with for sure. Are you going to try weird teams in Team of the Season, like players from smaller leagues like Eredivisie, etc.? Amazing content lately. Much love for Morocco. Keep the good work. My content on YouTube is very dependent on the algorithm of YouTube, right? So when I upload a video and then I upload a video similar, I have to see the algorithm of whether people like those types of videos or not, right? What I've come to notice is that if a player has no hype on him, people don't really care about it. So if you notice, right, if you saw like the FUT Birthday Yaya Toure and the FUT Birthday Wayne Rooney, those cards were hype players, right? So if I were to do videos on those guys, which I should have done, like a Rooney versus Yaya Toure video, I should have 100% have done it. That's the algorithm of YouTube. You have to find the right content that people want to watch, right? Now, if I make weird teams with like an Eredivisie squad, people don't really care for Division 1 runs like they did back in the day. Like if FIFA is a different type of game next year, because I've been saying this for the last 3 years, but if there's ever a year in FIFA where they actually get everything right, like because their competitive is just so terrible for the way it is for gameplay content and stuff, and their gameplay being inconsistent, so on and so forth. If they get the game right next year and there's the same content, even if they can do it better, that'd be awesome, because the FUT Birthday promo was really great. If they were to do a similar promo like that every time, it would be awesome. If there's consistent content, gameplay content, like if you score 100 goals with a player, you get this, blah, blah, blah. If they do stuff like that, there's so much to work with in the game that EA can do, but it really, really depends on them. And it's the algorithm with YouTube. Team of the Season, man, at the end of the day, it's always the players that people actually care about, like the Ronaldos, the Messis, all those types of guys. If there's hype surrounding a player, like, yo, this guy is overpowered, those are the players that you make the videos on as well. But would I do it for a fun concept? Not really. I'd rather just get them in drafts and then maybe be able to create a video from them in drafts, because building the actual squads with those players is not really a fun thing for me to do, right? I like being given cards and then using them, right? That's why I love drafts so much, because I don't have to buy and sell. My favorite thing is not being able to buy and sell. I hate buying and selling, right? Which is why I don't like trading and stuff, right? You should trade, you should invest in the game, but for me personally, I can't do it. It's just not fun for me to do. Like, I like SBCs though. SBCs are a ton of fun to use, but I don't like trading, right? I don't like being in the menus and actually trying to trade. It bothers me way too much. I have Prime Rijkaard. I'm thinking of getting center back Matthaus and swapping in game. What do you think? Prime Rijkaard as a center back? I mean, again, it's always the situation with the agility and balance being really low. His accelerations, I don't even know if Rijkaard would make that great of a center back, because his acceleration and sprint speed is decent, but his agility and balance isn't very good. So he's the type of card that you would have to try out on your team to see if he would play well there or not. You would also have to be very careful, because he's medium work rates, and I don't know if that's your style of play to have as a center back in your team, but just be very wary of that in your squads. Any chance for a man of the match Mbappe? Was that for the league? That was for the French Cup, I believe, right? The French Cup is the one that had the PSG Monaco game. I don't know if it was the French Cup final or the semifinals. I can't remember exactly, but there might be a possibility of them doing it. I'm not really sure as to what that would amount to. Foot birthday Kolasinac review. I think I reviewed Kolasinac's card a little bit, and I don't know how this card would play in game, man. Because here's the thing, right? His acceleration and sprint speed is awesome. His agility and balance is kind of low, but it's funny because his agility and balance is low, but 55 and 58 for how he feels in game is a little bit different because he feels very strong, right? And it's just a general feel that he has. Medium high work rates is quite nice. So again, man, it's just really down to trying out the card with him, man. Would I use him in particular? I mean, 80 short passing is pretty nice to use as a center back too. 80 short passing is actually quite nice. It's actually nice to use Boateng in a team because his passing is nice too. But I don't know, man. I don't know about Kolasinac. Kolasinac would only be in my team for fun purposes, but even fun purposes wise, I don't know if I would use him because I'm just not sure. Because he is 6 foot with 77 jumping, which isn't that great. Like, your jumping needs to be higher if you're going to be 6 foot, right? I think with Azpilicueta's card, actually, I'm going to check it out right now. So Azpilicueta's right back card has 78 jumping while being 5'10". So you already know straight off the books that Azpilicueta's center back card is just not going to be a good card in the air. But on the floor, he's going to be fantastic because this right back card, at least, has 83 acceleration with 85 sprint speed, as well as 81 agility and 78 balance. That is amazing to have for a center back in terms of moving left and right properly. And I'll tell you guys about one card that I use and I keep telling people about is the Prime Maldini's card is awesome to use. But I think that when I'm playing with him in game, I notice that his little bit of pace upgrade definitely helps. The fact that he has 85 acceleration with 86 sprint speed definitely helps his card actually being a better card in game. But the 65 agility and the 69 balance isn't bad at all to have. If you give him, I would say, an anchor card because his defending stats are already quite nice. If you give him an anchor card and you improve his jumping, his strength, those are the kind of stats that would definitely be worth improving if you have the resources to be able to do all of that. Matthaus doesn't work very well for me in a CDM position because of his height and his strength. Pretty weak for a CDM, even with an anchor with his height. He misses a lot of interceptions and headers. His shooting is pretty good, but he won't score at all. Overall, he is more of a center mid and not worth the coins. Absolutely, man. I 100% agree with the Matthaus situation. I don't think Matthaus is worth using as a center defensive mid. As a center mid, he's going to feel somewhat similar to Vidal, but I don't know. Is it worth the money that you're going to pay for the Matthaus card? It's debatable, man. Everyone's different in FIFA. Like, some people are going to say yes, some people are going to say no. It's very, very down to you whether or not those cards would be really good. Do I think that the inform Aubameyang is going to be incoming? Yes, I do think so. Like, in the last game that Arsenal had, I believe they won 3-0. Aubameyang ended up scoring 2 goals. And he could have... What was really cool about the Aubameyang situation was that he could have scored the 3rd goal to get a hat-trick, but he gave the penalty to Lacazette to gain that confidence boost, which is very important. And it's really awesome to see that players do that for each other on the pitch. I feel like that's a very important thing to have in squad for chemistry. So really nice to see for sure. Let's see what other questions that we got here. Prime R10 or Gullit? So that question is weird because they're 2 completely different players. Gullit is great as a center mid, a CDM, and as a cam. Even maybe as a striker. Ronaldinho would be okay as a center mid, but he has no defensive capabilities, right? Although he would still be pretty good because he's an absolute god. He does intercept the ball from time to time because... I don't know, man. That Ronaldinho card is just so much fun to use, but... I actually had a moment the other day. He intercepts the ball, but only if it actually literally goes right at his feet. If it's like a foot away from him, he doesn't do it because I don't think his, like I said, I don't think his defensive stats are like that great because even in real life, I know that EA is going to think like, oh, he's purely an attacker, so we can't use him as a center mid because it just really wouldn't make much sense. But yeah, Prime Ronaldinho is a fantastic card to use, man, but I think defensively wise, he wouldn't do much for you in the midfield. But attacking wise, as a midfielder, like if you use the Ronaldinho as a center mid, but you have your custom tactics on balance and you have free form on your custom tactics, you got a lot to work with there. You have a lot of attacking space to work with that Ronaldinho card. So I'll definitely look into doing that. But the Gullit card, really fun card to use, but think of it more like Ronaldinho's more of an attacker, Gullit's more of the defensive-minded player, but still a pretty good attacker. So really, really depends on you, man. Over Mars or Perez, I personally wouldn't get any of them, but if you actually look at both of the cards, Over Mars looks like he could be a fun card to use, but is he worth 452k? Very debatable, but he looks like he's a fun card to use. If he's the prime version of his card, which is a 90, I would expect a little bit of higher finishing and higher composure because it's the prime version of his card. But if you're actually going to be using him as a left mid, he's not bad at all to have, man. He's going to do all right for you, because if he's a left mid with a left foot and he also has a 5-star weak foot, it's definitely worth trying him out on the team. Would I necessarily like him? I don't know. He looks like the type of card that you definitely need to try out in the game to see if he's good or bad. There's no guarantees with that card in terms of whether or not he would be good or bad. Larsson as a center mid. Larsson, see, that's the thing with the FIFA forums, right? Like, this game isn't like it used to be. Like, you couldn't use, like, back in the day, man, I used to use, like, I can use, like, Schürrle as a center mid. I used to use Kolasinac as a center mid. I used to use so many different players that were center mids, and they would be able to get the job done. But nowadays, man, the defensive stats are so important, and the fact that he doesn't really have any defensive stats at all, he's not ideal to have as a midfielder. As an attacker, however, if you're going to be using him as a center mid and he's actually going to be attacking for you or trying to pop in some long shots here and there, he's going to be decent for you. He's actually not going to be that bad. He's not bad on the ball, being 5'10" with 92 acceleration, 88 sprint speed, 89 agility, 82 balance. His finishing is 93 with 83 shot powers, so on and so forth. So definitely a card that you have to try out in the game to see whether or not you would like it. But that is going to conclude the video for today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast segment for today. If you guys did, please drop a thumbs up on it. It helps the channel a lot. And I'll see you guys in the next video.